Hi friends, welcome to Tabletop Tonight. Today I'm looking at my top 10 nature-themed games, and we're going to jump right into it. Right here, the number 10 is Planted, a game of nature and nurture. Now here is where Michelle and I played, this was a few months ago we played it. This is a wonderful introductory game. It's by Phil Walker Harding, praise be. Um, he is the guy behind Sushi Go, Gizmos, all kinds of wonderful, I would say gateway games, but also gateway-ish games. They're really, really wonderful games for not only new gamers, but veteran gamers. I was blown away, honestly, by the components of this game. Thanks to friends of my Discord channel, they said, hey, there's a new Phil Walker Harding game at Target. I'm like, what? I had no idea. And I went and picked it up from Buffalo Games. At the time, it was on sale for 20 bucks, a total steal for 20 bucks. What this is, I've been calling it Sushi Go with resource management. You are trying to grow your plants, and every round you're playing cards at the same time. You're drafting cards from other players. You play them simultaneously, and then you either get a resource or you're going to place it on your player board as an item or decoration. Items help generate almost like a very slight engine builder, gets you stuff for certain cards being played. And then the decorations are at the end for end game scoring, depending on the different types of plants you get. You could also declare nursery, and by declaring that, you would just discard the card that you're going to play and then take one of the new plants from the nursery there and add it to your tableau. And then you also have green thumbs, which in real life, I don't have a green thumb, but this game allows you to have a green thumb by taking those resources. Those can be turned in for other resources. I think it's like 2 for 1. And then at the end of each round, that's where you're going to spend the resources. So you're going to draft a number of cards between you and your fellow players, play them out, get the resources, and then at the end of the round, and 4 rounds played, each round you're going to spend resources to grow your plants. And you just add the little leaf token there for each plant. You can grow them once per turn, and those are worth different victory points depending on what plants you get. The end game scoring points with decorations have different types of plants, different or similar plants, and then which ones you've grown. And it's a wonderful game. I was really surprised how much I enjoyed it, but I did really enjoy this. Michelle and I love it. We're big Phil Walker Harding fans, praise be, and anything that they put out there, we're just that he puts out, well, we always almost immediately have to go pick up and play, and we're happy to add this one to our collection. That is Planted, a game of nature and nurture. Okay, so yeah, nature themes. There, I should say this right off the bat. There's gonna be one game that's off this list, and I'll tell you why. It should have been on this list, but I'm gonna tell you why. So there's a little teaser for you for the rest of the list, folks. Okay, let's move on to my number 9. Hopefully I can learn how to count one of these. Number 9 is Eco's First Continent, and hey, this is Michelle, Lauren, and I playing back in the day when it was still live at 5. That's the camera, the smartphone that I had literally the duct tape to a tripod, and we were still using StreamYard at the time. And as you can see, that one was actually sponsored by Van Ryder Games. It's not a Van Ryder Games game. It's from AEG, from John D. Clare, one of my favorite designers as well. I mean, Phil Walker Harding, John D. Clare, wonderful designers. This one is like a bingo style game where you're going to be drawing tiles, and then you expand your little world there, your continent. But as you draw the tiles, everyone's going to have to figure out how they're going to play, use that resource that's been called. And then when there's like, I forget the names of them, but when there's 2 of a certain kind, then you have to put all the tiles back in the bag and, redo it. Really cool game. There's a lot of that, tile placement, like, oh, the hexagons, where am I going to place this for optimal points? And the game is really smooth. And we had played, what was that other bingo game? There's other styles of games like, there was the Caesar game. I forget the name, but it was redone into Via Magica. That game, it's a cool bingo style game where, again, everyone's just taking tiles, and you have to figure out how to play them. But this one, I think, takes a notch up a notch because it has the tile placement aspect to it, the spatial element, which is really neat. And as you can see, as you fill up your cards, certain cards that you've filled up with your resources, those unlock special abilities, ongoing abilities, one time. Oh, wonderful game, really cool design. And that is why it's my number 9 for nature theme game, Eco's First Continent. Okay, moving right along. The next game on the list, and let me see if I can pull that up here. Number 8 is Lotus, an older game from, oh, and here we are again. If you're watching the video, this is us at Live at 5 a couple of years ago. I didn't even have, look at this. The camera must have died. Well, I only have the front down, the face, straight face shot here, but you can see some of the cards. This is an older game by Mandy and Jordan Goddard from Renegade Game Studios. It's about a 6-year-old game, but oh, I love how beautiful this game looks on the table. As you're playing the cards, you can see there, you're actually playing petals of the card, and you're going to make lotus flowers and all kinds of different flowers, orchids or whatever they are. It's just one of the most beautiful games I've seen on the table as far as card games go. Absolutely love it. Totally underrated game. It's hand management and area control. So you have petal cards, and you're going to place them down, and you complete flowers. And when you complete flowers, you're going to see who has the most, and that depends on like what color, like little insect you have, and you're going to place your insects there. And then you unlock special abilities the more petals you put together, or flowers you put together. Fantastic game. You know, just watching this, I really need to bust this one out again. It's been a while since we played. Michelle, Lauren, and I love this game. It is so much fun, and I love watching the video because this is like a little snapshot of us almost 3 years ago. And obviously that board game library does not look like, and doesn't look like anything like that nowadays. Right now it's still under repair, but hopefully we're gonna change up some things when we get back there. But oh, I love this game. I highly recommend it. Go seek it out. I'm hoping it's still in print at Renegade. It's a wonderful game, probably about a 35-minute game or so. Never outstays its welcome. Wonderful game. That is Lotus from Renegade Game Studios, my number 8 nature-themed game. Let's move on to number 7, Miyabi, another wonderful nature-themed game. And here we are again, a couple of years ago, playing it on Live at 5 before we made it transform the show to Tabletop Tonight. But this is a wonder. Now, okay, here's the thing. I want to I wish the art was a little better on the tiles. I always thought the tiles, they didn't capture the beauty of like if you actually see the game box, the box cover is gorgeous. Michelle, during the pandemic, she actually did watercolors, and she did a watercolor version of the box cover, which I thought was so cool. We still have it up at the house. But anyways, this game is like number 9, where you have to build up. So you got this really neat special element. So you want you choose which row or column you're going to be building in, and you're going to choose, tiles from the market. And then those tiles, you want the similar ones together and try to extend, your reach with these different items like ponds or bushes, or I think there's like koi fish. But the thing is, what's really cool, just like number 9, you can build upwards. So the higher you go, you're going to get multipliers based on that, like how many levels you're at. But then you want all the same items together. Really clever game. And I feel like this one's a little overlooked. Honestly, I feel like the colors may have done it, because it's very... To me, it should have been a lot more vibrant, and it just wasn't. For whatever reason, they chose what they chose. But a really wonderful game, Miyabi. I do love the theme. You are building this Japanese garden, and you are building up as well as out. So check that one out. Michael Kiesling, folks. I mean, you ever heard of a game called Azul? You might like this one. Wonderful game from Haba. Okay. That is number 7. Let's continue to number 6. And while we get ready here, I'm going to sip some water. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. I'm recording this live on Twitch on the 26th of October. I'm doing 12 gift guides, and this is the 4th one that we're doing. I do different themes. So last week we did Halloween. This week is all about nature. Okay, let's move on to my number 6 nature theme game. It is Canopy, and boy, oh boy, this was an instant hit with me. This is from Tim Eisner and Weird City Games. If you've heard the name Tim Eisner, it's probably because of a small, well, not a small, but an awesome game called Tidal Blades. That world I love. And this is Tim's 2-player card game, which immediately shot up the ranks with me personally, because I love the gameplay of this. This is a push your luck set collection game. Beautiful art by Vincent Dutray. I'm playing this with my buddy Daryl here. And what you're doing is there's these 3 columns of cards. The 1, 2, and 3. They start off with 1 face down, 2, and 3. But as you go, you're going to select the first one, look at it secretly, and you're going to decide, do I want to take it into my tableau, my rainforest, or do I want to put it back and then give my opponent a chance to take it as I go to the next stack? And then you keep going back and forth, and it's this really neat push and pull, like, oh my gosh, I want this card now, or do I want this card now, or do I give my chance to my opponent to take it because I want something more, right? I want more cards, or I'm looking for a particular card. Oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful use of that mechanism. There's different ways to, collect sets. You're building trees. It's a rainforest, but there's also different animals and also flowers and whatnot. And then there's also events such as, fires that can take down some stuff. And once you add in the advanced cards, oh boy, this game really, I mean, it shines with the basic play, but that advanced play, it takes it up to another notch. I most recently played this with Shay Parker. He's a fellow contributor on the Rahdo channel, and he does RTFM, his YouTube channel. We played it, and his first game, he also enjoyed it. So I was really excited about that, because I really I really respect Shay and his opinions, and he did enjoy this. It's perfect for a 2-player game. There's also a cool solo mode, and then you can expand it up to 3 and 4 players with some extra rules, I believe it was. But honestly, I think this really is like one of the best 2-player games. And now I think about it, why didn't I include this on the 2-player list? And I'll tell you why. I had mentioned this earlier about there's a game that should be on this list that isn't. I'm going to spoil it for you. So further than 12 weeks that I'm doing these lists, folks, I'm going to try to do different games for every list. So that's 12 top 10 lists over the next 12 weeks. That's 120 different games. So Canopy could have easily been on my 2-player game list 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to save it for this one, the nature theme games. Likewise, I'm going to spoil it right now, folks. No, I'm not. I'm going to wait. So at the end, I'm going to tell you what game is not on this list. But anyways, number 6 is Canopy for nature-themed games. Let's move on to my number 5, which is Kohaku. Oh boy, you knew this. If you know me, you knew this was coming on the list. Michelle and I, another insta-love game. I love this game, and the Kickstarter edition that they put out, very, very limited quantities. This is one of the most beautiful productions I have ever seen in a game. Those tiles on camera, they do not do them justice. These are acrylic-like tiles, and when you see them up close, it's like 3-dimensional. You have like the koi fish below, and you'll have, like, as you can see there in that one Michelle's picking up, you'll have the flower above. Oh my goodness. And it almost feels like you're playing with glass tiles. They're just gorgeous. And there's like a little player mat there. It is a game of building a koi pond. It's so peaceful and such. I mean, I love the nature theme because it really speaks to me. As I'm more of a chill person anyways, and Michelle is too, and we love games like this. We're building our tableau, just very friendly, doing our own thing, but at the same time, you can sort of like draft, denial draft, like, oh, I know Ruel needs that type of fish, maybe I'll take it into mine. What you're doing is placing these tiles in your pond, and as you collect the sets of them, different spatial things can be scored, such as on mine on the left there, watching the video. Every blackfish that's next to that lotus flower will score 2 points. However, if all 4 sides, orthogonal sides, are surrounded by a blackfish, you'll get 12 points. And some of the fish are black and white, so they count towards different colors. You also have butterflies, which score rows and columns. You have frogs that score by themselves, and then or tadpoles. And then you also have statues or structures. Oh, it's so neat. Every round, you're just taking one fish, one koi fish, and one feature is what they call it. And then you replace them in the middle, and you do it again until I think there's a certain number of tiles that you're going to select. But at the end, you look at your pond, it is just gorgeous, especially with this Kickstarter edition. They do have a second edition, which is all cardboard. I've seen it. It looks fine. Don't get me wrong. And the gameplay is so sharp and so smooth. I believe it's Danny Devine. It is Danny Devine. He's done some of my favorite games, including Sprawlopolis and Topiary. So it's such a good designer. Also, we talked about one of Danny's games last week in Halloween games. He did Ghost Love Candy 2. So Kohaku, folks, a high recommendation. Very cool tile laying game, set collection, and just out of this world production for the Kickstarter game. Okay, let's move on. We're getting to the top 4 now. Coming up here, number 4 is Parks. And Michelle and I here are actually playing the Parks with the Nightfall expansion, which I think is not necessary, but if you like Parks, Nightfall adds some really cool stuff. It just really expands the game. And I mean, talking about production value, Keymaster Games knocked it out of the park. Look at those trays and look at the board. I mean, that's actually I got the playmat for this one, but then the meeples, and you're just, oh, I love it. And this is another one of those really cool, chill, peaceful games where you're just going on a hike. You're hiking the national trails in the US, and as you go along, you're collecting resources, trying to accomplish tasks. In this case, the tasks are, you want to see the parks. So certain parks require certain resources. You can also, thanks to expansion, go down to, I think it's, is it called the campground? I forget. It's camping though. It's got a tent. You go down there, you're going to pick up extra resources and extra abilities. You can take photos along the way. That's another thing that you can collect. Check out those components. I mean, I love seeing all the resources like the water, the sunlight. Then you also have the animals as well. Oh my goodness. It's so good. Absolutely beautiful game. It's a family weight game, but with the expansion, I think it takes it up to a family or gateway plus game. The art is beautiful. Henry Audubon, I was very fortunate. I got to meet Henry at Gen Con this year. Just a really, really nice guy. And, you know, of course, I had the fanboys like, dude, I'm such a big fan of Parks. So very, very kind guy. Parks, folks, check it out. Highly recommend. Oh, there's I'm visiting Redwood there. As you can see, I'm turning those resources, and then I get an ability or a special one-time ability as well. If you've seen Trails, you've probably seen that at Target. That is a very light, streamlined version of this game. I recommend that one as well, but I like the little more robust nature of I love the robust style of Parks with the expansion a little more. However, Trails is perfect if you've got like 20 minutes and you just want to get the flavor of Parks. Parks is probably about a 45-minute game, but Trails is about a 20-minute game. So recommend either, but Parks makes the list for top 10 nature-themed games. Okay, gonna take another sip of water. And let's move on to the number 3 game on our list, Floriferous. I love Pencil First games. When they team up with Steve Finn, Dr. Steve Finn, and Eduardo Baraf, and then the artists that they have on staff, they're small box games. They're almost like tiny epic size games. They're the exact same box size. But these are, I feel like, just as epic as any tiny epic. What's great is their themes are always unique, and they do tend to have more nature-themed games. Herbaceous, one that could have easily made this list. Sunset Over Water. But this is the one I chose. I love Floriferous. Floriferous takes set collection with a different flora and everything. You're just taking a walk in the garden, strolling in the garden, picking flowers. And it has, the end game goals that you're collecting as well. But it really takes a really cool mechanism I've always enjoyed, the King Domino action selection. So wherever you put your piece, you're going to go top down, top from the start, top to the to below, as far as turn order. So whoever's on top goes first, whoever's second, or in the middle row, second and third, etc. Right? And then what that does is set you up for the next round, but because you can see what card is coming up. Now, what Floriferous does, and this is like the perfect touch, depending on the player count, you're going to keep some of those cards face down. So you don't really know what's coming up. So it's got a little push your luck to it. And then you have the bounties at top there. The bounties are things that everyone can race for as far as points. But the thing is, if you just try to get the bounties, you're going to lose this game because you need to take that bottom row of cards, one of those, to score either bugs, insects, different flowers, different colors, and at least a few of those you'll need for the end game, because the bounties, they're a nice bonus, but they will not win you the game alone. I love this game. It is so smart and so good. And, I've talked to Richard Rahdo about this on his channel. He calls Dr. Steve Finn like the king of the fillers. And I would have to agree with this assessment. Like, I don't even like calling these games fillers. They're 20 minutes. You could play, 3 of these, yes, as a filler during, between games. But you can play 3 of these in an hour and be totally content. I love Steve Finn games. And this is, I feel like, the best of the bunch, Floriferous. That's why it's our number 3. And getting ready to move into number 2 now, folks. Oh, boy. Arboretum, from Renegade Game Studios by Dan Cesar, is it Dan Cassar or Caesar? Apologies. Wow, this game, and we're watching on video here. Lincoln and Nikki from Game Night over there on BGG's. Shout out to our friends there. I want to call this game what we call it at home, mean trees or murder trees, because as beautiful as this game is, there's no getting around it. It can be really brutal. And what it is you're collecting trees and you're just making an arboretum. I mean, there's a spatial element to it, which is really fantastic, where you need the trees to go in ascending order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But you can have them in a grid. You will have them in a grid, orthogonally adjacent. But at the end of the game, it does this really neat thing where you're going to score majorities that are in your hand, right? So the points, you want to place the cards in on your tableau, but you're also scoring what's left in your hand as well. And it's a really fun balancing act, but boy, you can really hose people. It's really simple mechanism where you're playing a card and then you're discarding a card, and then you draw, and then you're going to discard a card. So where do you discard it? You can discard it in front of you're going to discard in front of yourself, but then when you draw cards, you can draw from the deck or you can draw from someone else's discard pile, and that's when it gets really fun. It's like, oh, they took that card that someone else needed or that I was hoping no one would take. And oh gosh, it's so good. There's so much I don't want to say meanness, but but I mean, it can be mean, but it's in a friendly mean way because they're trees. Come on, it's a lovely little arboretum that you're building. Best Sobel art, anything but Best Sobel I love, but this game highly recommended. This is another classic and evergreen, as if you want to call it that, during a nature theme show. Evergreen title, Arboretum. That's why it's our number 2. But folks, there's one left, and before I get to this one, I do want to talk about the game that was left off of this list. It should have been on this list, but like I said before, the games on this list, on these lists, these 12 different lists I'm going to try to make them all different. So Cascadia should have been on this list, but I already put Cascadia on my top 10 games, first games for a collection, because I think if you're going to start a collection, Cascadia should be one of them. It could have easily been anywhere on this list, probably towards the top, if not number 1, but I've gone with a game changer, literally, in modern board gaming. My number 1 is Wingspan. And, this has had such a huge influence on the industry, and it's just straight up an awesome game. And I'm watching video right now. If you're watching the video, that was my friend Becca Scott and Jake Michaels from the Good Time Society. We got to play Wingspan on my channel a couple of years ago, so that was really fun. But anyways, Wingspan from Elizabeth Hargrave has done wonders for this industry. I mean, if you haven't seen it before, a couple of months ago, maybe earlier this year, or was it late last year? I think earlier this year, Mandy Patinkin, Hollywood celebrity actor. He did I think it was his son filmed him and their family trying to learn the Wingspan. It was a funny video, but the fact that it's gotten so much press coverage, Wall Street Journal, all kinds of mainstream outlets. I mean, this game has changed everything. And I remember playing it for the first time at my local con, Strategic Con. Someone had got an early copy, and because they sold out super quick. The second I played, I said game of the year. And I heard that sentiment from a lot of people. It's an engine builder. It's got that very Terraforming Mars-like thing where you have a huge deck of cards and you're trying to, build an engine to score more points. But the theme, there's a lot of nature-themed games, but I really think this is the one that really has kicked off this trend of nature-themed games, right? Because it showed that not only a woman designer, which is awesome, but also women who did, I think, all of the art, if not the majority of the art. And, they put together this game that was just accessible enough. Now, I would not call this a gateway game. That's the thing. I think it's a little, just a step above. But what's great is this theme. I mean, it's about birds. And I remember when the announcement came from Stonemaier, hey, we're going to have this game. It's going to go on sale, and it's on sale now, right? And I was like, okay, bird theme game, cool. I was used to Scythe, and all the other things from Stonemaier. I was like, yeah, it looks nice, whatever, but I didn't back it. I instantly regretted not buying it early for pre-orders when I got to play it at my con, because it was so smart and so good. You're playing bird cards, you're collecting resources to get more birds in your different habitats, and as you go to the different action rows, you're going to trigger effects from the other game, from the other cards. So you go right to left, you build your tableau. Then when you trigger that row, say for instance the feeding row, the food row, you're going to go left to right or right to left, and each card, if that has an ability, you're going to trigger that, which can combo with others. So good. I absolutely love this game. I played a ton in person, and the app is fine, beautiful. We're playing the Steam version here. Gorgeous animations, sounds, just everything. Again, I would not call this a gateway game, but the thing that's great, it's at Target, it's at all Barnes and Noble, it's at outlets where non-gamers can get their hands on it and look at that beautiful art. I forget the name of the bird now, but that bird on the cover, it just draws people in. It's like, what is this? This is not Catan. This isn't Seven Wonders. This is not, whatever the latest hotness is. This is a bird, and I want to play this game. And it has done so much, and I'm so happy for Elizabeth and Stonemaier Games and everyone involved, who created this game, because it's had a bunch of expansions. It's going to keep going on. It's going to continue to bring more people into the hobby, which I'm a big fan of, and that's why it's my number 10 or my number 1 game of the top 10 nature themed games. Friends, there you go. I really love all of these games, and I would love to hear what your favorite nature themed games are. So drop them in the comments below, and let's start a conversation, not only here on YouTube, or join me on the Discord channel. There's a link to my Discord there, and we talk about games and all kinds of great stuff. So until next time, thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.